My name is Mark, CEO of Cod. I founded this company 5 years ago now. What we do is we have created a platform for location-based apps. So with our software, interested companies or individuals can create their own location-based apps, meaning a digital city tour or a treasure hunt or a walking tour or a rally or whatever is location-based. They can configure it themselves, create multiple apps around it or multiple experiences, and then let people experience what they've created via either our app, the Cod app, or via a white label solution where we put your app into the App Store under your own name and brand, thereby enabling you to let your customers experience what you've created yourself. In the beginning, it was quite stressful, as in when you set it up the first time, you're always like experiencing. But in the meantime, our software is quite it's stable, and we don't have any issues. And so actually, there's no stress factor there at all. Our servers, but that's why we are having this talk, are reliable, and they are like always online, and our application keeps running. So I don't experience any stress from that anymore. No. Yeah. So our tech stack is well, not surprising when talking with you and with zCloud, it's Meteor. So we use Meteor for our application server. So we've got several Meteor applications running. So our core application consists of multiple Meteor applications. So we've got dedicated Meteor applications for civil customers, but also we've got a multi-tenancy setup whereby one application of Meteor handles the day-to-day transactions, and one application handles the backend, and one application handles like recurring tasks. So we've got multiple Meteor applications handling, or node applications actually, and some Meteor applications handling different responsibilities in the back. But they all communicate with the same database that also runs on zCloud. I'm saying zCloud always because it's somehow the Dutch language, but I'll try to stick to zCloud. We run MongoDB for our database, and we run a Redis instance as well for the real-time nature. So like what you mentioned before, the live nature of this whole thing, like we use Redis to basically notify clients of updates and make sure that they are responding and reactive on updates on the database side. I think we jumped in quite early in the whole starting of zCloud. Not sure if we were one of the first customers, but I have the feeling we were not like customer number 1, but we're also not customer number 200. So
yeah, I think we're about the first 10 probably. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So and from that perspective, I was a bit cautious, of course, because as you said, the live nature of our business, we've got hundreds of thousands of users every day using one of our multiple applications. So I was very cautious on the fact that we did not want to experience any downtime. So we took our time for the migration. But right from the start, especially you, Felipe, and Rafael, gave us a good feeling on the way you were approaching this, or how you are approaching this, like running the database, providing us with a test environment, being able to, because we were coming from Meteor Galaxy, obviously, being able to transfer the first applications without any DevOps activities on our side. You basically provided us with a Docker image, and then we were able to just run the Meteor application. So from that perspective, it was very, very convenient. And then we run some performance tests on our end to validate that all was going fine. We ran different types of tests to really make sure that everything was running as we expected it. And in the end, it turns out that the setup that we have now on zCloud is running faster than like the setup we had using Meteor Galaxy in combination with Mongo Atlas, because of the nature of how zCloud runs everything. Like, I don't know exactly the details, but just being able to collect from one application server to our database via a local network or virtualized local network is something that like definitely speeds up the overall performance of the application. And after finding that out, we made a plan for ourselves how we are going to migrate all of our servers and all of our databases and all of our stuff one by one. We took a cautious approach on that, and we just completed that actually end of 2023. With the start of the new year, we were able to complete all of the migrations of all existing customers to zCloud. So we could turn off our old application servers and turn off our old database as well. Impact of cost, I can be short about that. The overall cost of running our applications now has gone down drastically. But since it, as you said, it's a live business, a core business, I wasn't willing to like let cost rule our decision on that from the beginning, from the get-go. That's also why we took our time for the migration. But in the end, now if you look at it under the like, if you look at the net result, it means that we save, I'd say 60, 70, maybe even 80. I did not do the final calculation yet, but if we turn up everything that we had in the old stuff, I think we could save 75 to 80% of our server running costs, and thereby also on top of that receive better service for whenever we had a question. What you mentioned before is really true. In the beginning, we had some doubts about performance. We had some ambiguous results in the performance test, and I was feeling a bit like, hey, am I bothering these guys too much with too many questions? So it was a bit, but yeah, like Felipe and even the other guys from support gave me a good feeling that we cannot ask too many questions. And whenever we have a question, they came knowledgeable and technically reliable answer back. That made us have a good feeling that everything was under control and that our applications are running in a safe environment. Stuff like how are we going to back up the database? How are we going to retrieve the backups? How are we going to be able to restore them within a quick period of time? How are we going to, if the data center of zCloud in Germany, the one that we are using, has issues, how are we going to be able to migrate stuff to a different data center and reduce our risk of being down for too long? All of that stuff was answered really quickly and professionally. I have the feeling, and it's a well thought through setup. Let's call it like that. That's what my feeling with it is. We got an update from zCloud saying, hey, you need to, if you have time, need to take care that you update your CNAME records in our DNS provider. So our CNAME records, instead of pointing to the ingress of zCloud directly, we had to point to a specific ingress for our specific application. And I think that is what allows you to do this switching more quickly, right? Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Right now, it's doing the same, right? So you get like a CNAME for your app, but this name for your app is pointing to your ingress for a specific region. But for any reason, if you want to change your region, you don't need to touch your CNAME because you can change the second level of CNAME. So it's just like a loop, like in the path to resolve your DNS. So that gives us also more flexibility. Like if you need to change your ingress name for some reason, you don't need to ask you to change as well. So that's very good for us. We even did a migration in the US. This didn't affect you. That you remove a region and you migrate to another region. but it was just like a configuration that you have to manage. But it was a big migration because we have a lot of clients in the US. So we could do this like transparently for all the clients because you could just change the DNS. Of course, you always warn the client first, oh, can you do this time for your app? Because you could have like some minutes of like DNS migration, but that gives us a lot of flexibility. So
during our migration, we used it, especially to keep an eye on how like adding new customers to zCloud, or like in the migration of migrating our customers from the existing infrastructure to zCloud, we kept an eye on the performance of everything, make sure that adding more customers and more data wasn't affecting the stuff at all. So those Grafana dashboards were really helpful. And for the application servers, we used it's maybe the wrong word. It's because it's very extensive, the Grafana dashboards on the application server as well. But we use an APM performance monitoring package on top, Monty, which was recommended by Felipe as well, to basically, because it's a specific thing that is specific to Meteor or Meteor applications, that basically also tracks how the data from the database being fetched, which steps are being done, how much time every step in the process takes. And Monty is just a very good reporting thing, and it's just a matter of plugging in some environment variables. The way zCloud handles configuration, like being able to just plug and play with these environment variables and just deploying your application, is a matter of seconds, really. If I change an environment variable and click apply, it is being applied within like seconds. If it's a deploy variable, if it's a build variable, then stuff might take a bit longer, especially because Meteor is not the fastest application type to build, but or at least our Meteor application, I must say as well.
It's not but in general, Meteor is not the best build tool in terms of like timing, but it's very good in terms of flexibility. Like you can basically throw any code there and it handles.
Because it has everything in there. It has the Node application, it has the web apps, and it has the native apps as part of the whole experience. So that's why we use Meteor, or we stick with Meteor. So it's really good.